Hi guys, happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are doing well. So at this point, you should have already watched the Khan Academy video on how to draw a neuron, and that should have been done on this side of your Human Body Systems HBS. So we're going to be working on the other side on the nervous system worksheet. So we're going to be doing this together, and then at the end, you are going to take a picture and submit it through Canvas. So let's go ahead and get started. So it says number one, the diagram below is is of a nerve cell or neurons. Okay, so this is our nerve cell, and nerve cells are called neurons. So we're going to add the following labels to the diagram. So we're going to label this picture. So we're going to work our way from left to right. So let's talk about these guys. These are they look a lot like tree branches. These are called dendrites. And what dendrites do is they receive impulses from or any type of information from the body, either inside or outside. So these guys are responsible for receiving and creating these electrical messages that are important to send to the brain. So from there, these electrical messages from the dendrites are going to go to the cell body. So the cell body is kind of the main part of the neuron. And then right here, it's not one of our words to label, but we'll go ahead and label it, is the nucleus. Okay, so this is our cell body. Now it's very interesting. This is a cell that we really haven't seen before. When we were studying cells earlier in the year, they were a lot rounder. They had a more simple shape. But here you can see that this is a cell. And it looks nothing like what we talked about. Now, inside of the cell body, it has organelles, which is what you're familiar to seeing inside of a cell. But it goes to show you that our body has different functions. And because of those different functions, we need different cells to carry out those functions. So because the function of a neuron is to carry electrical impulses, that's why it is shaped the way it is. So from the dendrites, we're going to go to the cell body, and then that electrical message is going to be sent through the axon. So this whole part right here is called the axon. And this is responsible for carrying that message all the way through. Okay, kind of like a highway, it carries it all the way through. And then you'll notice that there's kind of these like little capsule looking things. That's called the myelin sheath. Myelin sheath, the myelin sheath. So I want you to think of this in terms of a cord. So if you think about an electrical cord, there are wires that go in, like that are inside of the cord, and it carries electricity. But you don't see those wires because it's wrapped in a rubber wiring to prevent the electricity from getting out. Very similar thing here. The myelin sheath is kind of like the rubber coating around a wire. It's actually going to protect the electrical signals that are being passed through the axon. So it's kind of known as like a covering, and it protects the messages that are traveling through. So that's called the myelin sheath. And then over here at the end of our axon, we have these axon terminals. And what they do is they carry those messages and give them to the muscle that they are attached to. So this whole thing right here is our muscle fiber. So you can see that there's a lot of moving parts here in this cell. There's a lot of different things going on. So to recap, we have dendrites that look like tree branches, and they are the ones that collect information and gather information inside of the body and outside of the body. And they compile it into an electrical message to send to the brain. From there, it goes through the cell body, which has a nucleus, through the axon, which is covered by these little capsules called the myelin sheath. And then it is exited through these little axon terminals that are then attached to muscle fiber. And those electrical messages are sent to the muscle fiber. So I want you to think about if you were to touch the stove and it was really, really hot. You don't have to think to yourself, oh, I should remove my hand now. Your body automatically does it. It's because these dendrites say, hey, this is really hot. You should probably move. And so it automatically moves your muscle really, really quickly without you even having to think about it, which is pretty cool. Okay. So we labeled all this diagram with all of those words. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and you are going to color each of these things based on what color. So you're going to color the axon purple, the cell body blue, the axon terminals orange, the dendrites green, the myelin sheath yellow, and the muscle fibers red. So you're going to go ahead and color that now. Okay, so you should have finished coloring and color coordinating your neurons. So here we have the dendrites, they were green, and that's what you should have colored. Here we have the cell body, and that is blue. Then we have the axon, so we have you can see the axon showing through the myelin sheath a little bit, and then even coming and extending up here is still part of the axon. We have the myelin sheath, of course, and this was yellow. We have the axon terminals, which is these guys that send out those electrical impulses to the muscle fiber, and then the muscle fiber was red. So you should have all of these labeled. I took a marker and I kind of outlined the name of what was supposed to be yellow just to keep everything nice and organized. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to part 3. Okay, so we are now on part 3. So let's look at the different types of neurons and match them up to their function. So let's look at the first one. The nerve cell that carries impulses from a sense receptor to the brain or spinal cord. So this is where impulses are going from the body to the brain. So this is where this type of neuron is going to gather information from the body and send that information to the brain. So that would be the sensory neuron. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, didn't spell that right. There's a U right there. Okay, the next one, the nerve cell that connects sensory and motor neurons. So this is important for this neuron basically takes any of those electrical impulses and takes it from a sensory neuron to a motor neuron, kind of like a relay, kind of like the middleman. That is our relay neuron. And last but definitely not least, the nerve cell that transmit impulses from the brain or spinal cord to a muscle or gland. So this is going from the brain to the body. So the brain has decided how it wants the body to react depending on what that electrical message was, and it's going to tell the body what to do. So that is going to be our motor neuron. All right, so you should be done with the nervous system worksheet. So you're going to take a picture of this entire page and upload it into Canvas. Bye, guys. Have a great day.